friends, it's me, Dave Landau. After a long night on stage, I like to kick back with a captain's hat and a fine cigar and watch the Dennis and Andy show. These guys are huge nerds, but they're the kind that you actually want to hang out with. Enjoy them. I do.
Certified Badass.
Oh yeah, everybody. What is up? It is Wednesday. That means it is the Dennis and Andy show live for your entertainment. I'm Andy. That's Dennis.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody. Our shirts say our names so we don't forget. Dennis, of course, has to cut the sleeves off because he likes to show the pythons.
Sleeves, or as they call them, arm prisms. Hate the arm prisms, hate the leg prisms. Get rid of them. That's what can I say.
That's right. I, of course, don't like to show the python because this is not an X-rated channel.
Oh.
So there you go, everybody. Let's say hi to people. Wiley Draws, hello. Bringing sexy babes back. You know it, brother. Where, are you talking about us? I'll take it.
We were kind of the hit of the show. I mean, we did do a lot of posing, and a lot of girls went, "Oh,
that's right." Hail, Andy! Ready to watch Andy Squared? You
that's
know
right.
it. That's alluding to our special guest. Good afternoon, and Randy Howell. Why, hello to you as well. Sitting in the background of my office today, you can't see her. If she wants to walk in, she can. Is my daughter Courtney. She wanted to be up here while we record. I was like, you're more than welcome to.
She did do the intro.
She did make the intro. She literally, nobody can see you.
Little farther.
Over
Come
here.
on. In between. There
she is.
There's the creator of our intro. Take a bow,
Right.
Courtney.
Take a bow.
Now leave.
Go back to the dungeon you belong in, like most children do. So there you go, guys. Kor-Drath, The Reckoning, the sign-up page is live. We're over 800 sign-ups. We want that number to go higher and higher. Straight up we'll climb.
Because we want you guys to know, as we put out information with what's going on, that you get the updates, especially when we decide to go live.
Because if you sign up and back the campaign, you get this lovely lady as a trading card. So sign up so you can be one of the lucky people that get this trading card at Lilith when you sign up. So do that. All right, without further ado, let's bring on our guest. He is the one and only one man for the job. And as I say it, this is what I mean.
There is only one man for the job.
And that is Andy the Animal Belanger. Hello.
What's up? I completely agree with being sleeveless.
Yes!
I am sleeveless
one.
since 2013. I hate t-shirts. Actually, I've been wearing t-shirts a little bit lately, but I roll them up as far as yours goes.
Nice. I got my wife to see. She brought out the old sewing machine. She literally cut them all off and sewed them all together for me. I hate sleeves. I
feel like they're trying to eat my body in a horrible way.
See, when I go out, if I roll my sleeves up like that in public, I'd have to beat the women off me, and it's not okay to beat women. So I'm doing a public service.
I can see that. See, my beard I look like I came out of like a forest, so I don't really have that problem.
You are a lumberjack type. You do remind me a
That's
little
right.
bit of Grizzly
There's
Adams.
like up here it's more normal. Up here, like the ladies like a lumberjack type. As my wife says, she likes her men to look burly, like they've been working on a farm all day.
Oh, where are you from? That since you said up here.
I'm actually from just an hour outside of Toronto.
Oh,
and then I lived in a town called London, Ontario, where I went to school, which is part of my origin story, where I met Stuart and Catherine Immonen.
Oh, nice.
And then they kind of showed me the ropes and a lot of comic book stuff. But then I moved downtown Toronto until 2012. And in 2012, I moved to downtown Montreal. And I've lived in Montreal ever since, with a few brief stints in Florence, Italy.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So my
Stuart
French is
Immonen,
awful.
man, I love Stuart's work. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Man.
So when I went to, growing up, I've always been a comic book freak.
Yeah.
Like ever since I was a little kid. And I've literally been drawing comic books since I was 5 or 6.
Nice.
And kind of like a Wayne Gretzky story. Like when I was that age, people would be like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Do you want to be a hockey player or a wrestler or one of those things? And right from 5, 6, I was like, I'm going to draw comic books for a living. And it never changed my whole life. Like that was the only thing I ever wanted to do. And when I went to art school for fine art, which was, art school in North America is really funny because they consider comics to be some sort of like low form of art. So
yeah, right.
when I went to school, right, they didn't want me to draw and they didn't want me to paint. So I have a degree in sculpture.
Oh, wow.
And then the second it was over, I just went back to drawing comics. Like, but while I was in school, I was 18 going on 19 when I moved to London, Ontario to go to school. Stuart and Catherine Immonen had moved from Toronto to London, Ontario because like for the same price you can get like in London, Ontario, you could get like a castle. So they basically bought this gigantic 5-bedroom house that had this gigantic attic. That was the attic had to be 1,500 square feet with like 20-foot ceilings, and it had secret trap doors and stuff. And at that time, Stuart always worked standing up, so he had upright tables.
Now just to kind of get a time, like how long ago was this?
Oh my God! I'm 44, so I was like 19 when I met him. So
and
we're going like 10 years ago.
He would work standing up.
Yeah, he worked standing up the whole time. He doesn't now, but he did then. When I met him, he worked standing up. And he, at that time, he was doing the,
was it
Superman Secret Identity, I think it was called.
Oh, yeah.
It was a Superman series when I met him, and he had just come off an Image series. And while in the few years that I was going to university, he had started the series that he was doing on the Hulk, I believe.
Oh. Okay.
So he did like a cool thing on the Hulk, and he was doing Superman stuff. So I get to watch him pencil. But Catherine, his wife, was writing a ton then.
Yeah.
And she was actually basically showing me, okay, this is a comic book script. This is how you break it down. Here's some hard and fast rules to live by. Try not to have more than, 9 to 12 panels on a page, like no more than like 15 word balloons, this kind of stuff. Try to keep, mostly 3 actions on a page, like all these great rules that I live by to this day. I learned from Catherine and Stuart. Like I kind of call them they're kind of like my comic book parents. And like when I bring it up now and they look at me because we've known each other for 25 years, it's like, they're kind of like, guess you're making us feel old.
Well, Stuart can't be.
You look old.
It sounds like you probably know how old Stuart is, and I'm not asking for his exact age, but I know he started in comics, I think a little before I did, and I started in 91. So I just always pictured Stuart around my age, which is early 50s, right?
I would guess he's like, he had to be 30 or 30 something when I knew him in my 20s.
Yeah.
So he must be like late 50s.
Oh, okay. Oh,
like,
that's cool.
I think he's maybe a little younger than Jimmy, but like, because Palmiotti's like 60. But I'm guessing he's like 58. Like, that would be my guess.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
When I learned that The Rock is like 50 or 51, I like almost had a heart attack. I was like,
The
how is
Rock?
The Rock 50?
I don't think The Rock's 50 yet.
I'm pretty. Is he? Tell me
No,
he's
I
50.
don't think so.
Oh my god!
I'm
Like I was in high
52.
school. I was in high school watching him wrestle on WWE. Like,
Dude, well, you're 8 years younger than us, but
yeah,
I remember because I just watched the biography on The Rock, and I want to say he made his debut when he was 26. So yes, how old is he? Oh, he's 50 straight up. My daughter.
he's 50 straight up. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
but
50
still, to think
straight up.
to think he's only like 6 years older than me just feels weird. Like,
Well, I tell you what's so
weird.
I think I told you this. So I'm friends with Al Snow. And
oh yeah, that's right. We talked about Al Snow. Yeah.
yeah, and for the longest time, I just was like, oh, Al's got to be a lot older than me. He's not. He's only like 6 years older than me. And I'm just like, holy crap. And I mean, he's in like when he wrestled for the WWE, I mean, obviously he was a big guy, but he wasn't nearly as ripped cut as he is now. You know?
Yeah, he's pretty ripped now. Yeah.
So
Al Snow's awesome though. Yeah, he's a crazy one. He did a bunch of seminars up here in Montreal a little while ago that were at one of the other schools called Torture Chamber.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of those videos floating around, but it was before the IWS school, the one I'm part of, opened like 6-7 years ago. So I'm basically part of a Fed called the International Wrestling Syndicate, which is like the ECW of sort of Montreal and Canada.
Sure.
I would say it's, we were kind of known for the blood and guts and, barbed wire and tubes and all that stuff. I don't wrestle like that because I'm a big baby. They even call me big baby sometimes. They're like, can we have barbed wire in our match? I'm like, no.
Can we throw thumbtacks down and you can do a Mick Foley and fall right on top of them? No.
The one that I've hated the most in a match that I've been in is Lego. Lego is kind of even worse than tax. Like,
is it
there's
really?
something just vicious
Have
about.
you not stepped on Legos before, Dennis?
I had. My kids had them. I
Exactly.
overstepped on them, but tacks stick in your foot and lodge themselves in. Whereas with Legos, I'm just like, go 1 foot. Ow, ow, ow.
Right.
Yeah. Legos are bad, but I haven't had a tack match before, so I'm not gonna. There's not much I can say. I go through a bunch of tables, but and ladders, but I've never been dropped into a thing of tacks.
So
dog treats for sure. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
We'll definitely talk wrestling, but back to comics real quick. What was the first comic you bought? Do you remember the first one you read? Or
I can't remember the number, but the first comics I ever bought were Creature Commando comics from DC.
Nice.
Way back in the day. So when my mom split from my dad, there was a store downtown that was kind of dedicated to secondhand books. And the comic book section of this store was ridiculous. Like, it was floor to ceiling shelves. It went for about 25 feet. It was jam-packed with books, but not the way we had it. Like, as soon as the 90s hit, it was bags, boards, long boxes, all that stuff. Before that, it was literally just throw them on a shelf.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And jam them into the shelf. So you only see the paper part. You don't even know what you're looking at. You had to pull out the stack. And the guy smoked. So the whole wall was yellow paper. Right? It was just yellow paper all the way along. And you'd pull them out. And I would sit while my dad would be like looking for books on marketing. And he would sit there for 3 hours in the store with me on a Thursday night. Like it was his turn to pick me up. I would sit there for hours and look at comics. And I remember the first comics I bought and really got into were Creature Commandos, which if people don't know, Creature Commandos is basically like Monster Squad against Nazis. So it was like Frankenstein, the Wolfman, there was a Dracula and a Medusa, and they would take on Hitler and the Nazis and all that stuff. And that was always fascinating to me because my grandfather was a pilot in the RAF, like a bomber pilot in World War II.
Damn.
So, yeah, he was like his plane and another plane were the only planes to make it out of the war, out of something like 22 or 24 planes. His bomber, which was a Lancaster, was the or was it the Wellington? There's two, the Lancaster and the Wellington. And whenever I go to my mom's, I have my grandfather's cup with the picture of his bomber on it.
Nice.
They were the only ones to make it through the war. So when I was growing up, I was always fascinated with World War II. So all the comic, Captain America, if he was fighting, that kind of stuff, I got into it. But mostly the Creature Commandos were like a big thing, and anything monster, like John Buscema's Frankenstein, I would freak out
dude.
for. Or like basically, if John Buscema drew anything, I was like all over it. Like his Conan and his Frankenstein and Tomb of Dracula, and Werewolf by Night, like all that.
I just picked up over the weekend at a con that we were at, number 2. There's Creature Commandos, by the way.
You got it. Yeah, I have that one. I have the one I bought in the 80s, like that comic.
That is that Joe? Oh, that's not a Kubert cover. Oh, that's Jim Aparo. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just picked up Frankenstein's Monster number 7 because it was drawn by John Buscema this past weekend.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Marvel has like these big, thick compendiums.
You
probably have some of them. And there's a Frankenstein one. And
yep.
I think there's more than one Tomb of Dracula. And then there's a Vault of Horror.
Yep.
Yeah, I got them all sitting here. But those are my comics. And then when I started getting into comics, like to be serious professionally, when I was done university, I just wanted to I was making EC horror comic style stuff. So my style was basically like, I was just riffing on Jack Davis. Like everything for me, like Jack Davis was like the king of my world.
Yeah.
And I would just draw Jack Davis-y looking stuff. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, I was huge into Jim Lee and Silvestri and all those guys. But like when I actually started getting into stuff, there was a store in Toronto. This is going to segue into some stuff. There's a store in Toronto around the corner from my house called Dragon Lady Comics. And Dragon Lady Comics was a magazine store too, but Dragon Lady had one of the craziest selections of creepy, eerie, and EC horror comics you could find. And at some point when they were big, that guy had bought like truck tons of it, and the basement was just full of EC, creepy, all the rest of that. So, like Frazetta's comics were in there, and Al Williamson and all that stuff. So I would find, and then Mad Magazine. So, I'd find some of those EC horror comics that had Jack Davis. And if it was Jack Davis, I would like lose my marbles. And that's how I drew sort of at the beginning of my career. And my first comic that I got published was with Wildstorm when they had been bought out by DC, and they had the New Line license, and it was doing Friday the 13th. And that comic was polarizing, but did really well. A lot of people like really freaked out for the Friday the 13th I did, but it had a very EC style. So some people were like, what's this cartoony stuff? And I'm like, did you not like go through like, the 50s and the 60s looking at horror comics? It kind of all looked like this. But anyway, so that was sort of like my foray into pro work was working on Friday the 13th.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love Jack Davis's work.
Yeah, he was awesome. I have that, the ones that IDW puts out, the really big ones, the art books.
Artist
that Dunbeer does. Yeah, there's one on Jack Davis with a werewolf on the front, and I've got that sitting in my studio.
Well, it's not just Jack Davis. It's a bunch of different people in that one, right?
I don't think so. I think that one
really
is just Jack Davis.
I don't have that one. I've got. God, it's ridiculous. I shouldn't even say I've got one. You got them all over. I got about 12 of those books.
Yeah.
I bought one and I thought to myself, yeah, these are expensive. This is cool. This is the only one I'll get. And then 11 later.
Look at the size of this stupid thing.
Dude, that's bigger than the regular ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that is just Jack Davis.
Yeah, just Jack Davis. The whole thing is Jack Davis. It's like
Is there a cover in there of a guy swimming underwater? It's this great back shot that Jack did.
Oh, maybe.
Guy diving down. He's underwater. And it's more of his realistic style. And it's one of those comics that I would buy if I found it for a reasonable price, because it's not cheap just because of the cover.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Oh, but there is this. Wow, this is fantastic. Look at this Frontline Combat.
Here, full screen. I want to full screen you.
Oh my God, look at that.
Oh yeah, dude.
Is that not the coolest thing ever? Oh my God.
That is awesome.
My God. Jack Davis is this book. So this is what a lot of my early work was, kind of looked like this stuff.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. And then over the years, it sort of started to slowly transition into whatever madness I have now. Some sort of like Darrow. I was supposed to work with what's his name? Shoot. The guy that did Transmet. Oh, why am I blanking?
Warren Ellis. Or you
Warren
mean
Ellis. I was supposed to do a book with Warren Ellis in 2019, and it fell apart.
Oh.
And he compared my work to if Darrow had sex with Charles Burns.
Nice. By the way, this is what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. That's
that
amazing.
Dude,
look at the fish monster.
But just look at when you think Jack Davis, I think like Mad Magazine, stuff like that. But then you look at this and you're like, look at how well that's drawn.
No, that was the stuff I was into. The stuff you're looking at now. All his horror work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know that classic Jack Davis Frankenstein door poster?
Oh,
you know, where he's got the fur vest and everything? I've got a T-shirt with that. Yeah, it's really cool. I want to get the actual. I think I have the poster. I think someone gave it to me. I have like 50 posters in the studio. I haven't opened to like put up because
I met Jack Davis. And, so I belong to the National Cartoonist Society, which I believe. I don't think it's just like a United States thing. You could probably join it if you actually wanted to.
Yes, I have like 2 friends that are in it, but they were like cartoon strip guys.
Right.
I've never actually tried.
Comic book guys in it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dave Cooper's in it. My buddy Dave Cooper. Yeah. And then I have another buddy from Toronto, Paul Kalegi, I think his name is. And he does like newspaper strip stuff. But he would tell me wild stories. Like they would go to like the big party for the society, and it would be at Kathy's house, like the woman that did Kathy.
Oh, Kathy.
And he saw like the guys from South Park, like the 2 guys from South Park, like, you know, doing blow on her bed stuff, weird stuff.
Oh,
like,
nice.
He said like sometimes those parties would like get really crazy.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Well, no, I met so part of the National Cartoonist Society, they have separate chapters depending on region. So once you join the main one, you're automatically in whatever the smaller chapter is. So I'm part of the Southeast chapter. And it was probably, it might have been a decade ago now. We went to Savannah for our annual meeting, the Southeast chapter annual meeting. And Jack was there because Jack was from that area. He designed the logo for the Georgia Bulldogs. So I was hanging out.
He did.
Yep. So I was hanging out with Jack Davis, Paul Coker, some other great older gentlemen of that era. And Jack, I think around the time he did that Frankenstein poster you're talking about, he switched to inking all his stuff with sepia instead of black ink, and then he'd watercolor or Dr. Martin dyes over it. And because it wasn't a black outline, it was with sepia, it looked more like a painting like that Frankenstein.
Oh, man, I'm going to try that.
Yeah, you got to try that instead of using black ink.
So ink with sepia and then go over in watercolor.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're using sepia ink so it's waterproof like Higgins Black Magic is. And then you need to, you can do watercolor over it and ink won't run.
It's funny, like 2019, because I moved to Italy for almost a year with my wife. The way he rendered shoes, like clown shoes. Yeah. I always thought they looked like clown shoes.
So you're day trading. No, he's got YouTube in front of us.
No, he knows. He's just saying you're geeking out.
No, Dennis actually has Pornhub up, and I'm like, dude, turn that off while we're live streaming, but he won't. It's an addiction, it's better. I guess it's better than him being an alcoholic.
I am on Andy's account. Nobody can track
all that stuff is in Montreal. Like MindGeek, the company that runs Pornhub and all those places, is in Montreal. So the joke in Montreal, the big joke in Montreal is if you don't work in video games, you work for Pornhub.
Oh, wow.
And I have lots of friends that work for Pornhub at the offices doing very boring menial stuff, except my buddy Andrew, who actually is starting to work with us. But Andrew is the guy that does, when you would get like a VHS and would have a write-up about what that was going to happen in that porn. He's the guy that writes that stuff on the back.
Oh, nice.
He's a talented writer, and sometimes the stuff he writes on the back would just kill you. It's so funny. It's like way too funny.
I had no idea that's where the hub
Yeah.
was.
My hands are right here. My hands are right here, Daniel. Come on.
Are we talking about my hands? Wait a
No, he's
second.
talking about mine, I think.
He said, "Oh yeah, he did say Andy." I mean,
Yeah.
you
It could be either of us. Yeah.
Well, let's while we're doing this, let's pull this up. We can still talk. We can talk about the campaign as well.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to explain to everybody what Mother Trucker is, if you want to play the video, feel free, and we can talk about that.
I'll explain what it is a little bit. Like Mother Trucker is a series I've been writing for 6 years, and I basically got into wrestling to work on a wrestling comic. But I didn't want to just do a comic about like some wrestling guys. Like I'm really obsessed with, sci-fi and horror and all the rest of that. So I really wanted to put wrestling in space. So I had this idea of like, having the wrestlers be space truckers. So Andy, if you're the Walmart champion, you have the contracts to ship for Walmart in space. You have the Walmart championship belt. That's the contract, right? Cool. And if I want your contract, I can roll up on you and challenge you to a match and wrestle you for the contract. And the back of our trucks transform into rings, and we go at it. And if I beat you, I get the contract and I get your truck. Oh. And that's how the world works. Like, and it's also like televised. So a second truck off, they're called truck offs, the matches. Yeah. As soon as the truck off starts, like all of a sudden fans show up on the side, and like, there's like announcers and cameramen and all kinds of stuff. And it gets like broadcast. And the main character, Mother Trucker, was married to like a Hulk Hogan guy who blew up Texas with one of his moves. And she sort of like got picked up by the bad guy and genetically enhanced and rebuilt into this giant wrestler lady. And he's now the champion. And so she goes out throughout the universe trying to find her truck that she had before the explosion. But she also starts to find out that she had like a kid and a past life. And that starts to unravel as the stories go on. But each comic is sort of like her getting into a match. So I don't believe in, I don't know how you feel about this, but like in a lot of comic books, when I go into the store right now, they're all built for the graphic novel. So your first issue is amazing. And then issue 2, 3, 4 are boring as hell because they end up being these filler issues as you're on your way up to the climax in any story. And I always find that kills it for me. Like I get all these great first issues and I'll read the second issue and I'm out. I don't write like that anymore. Like I write so that issue is 36 pages or 30 to 36 pages, fulfilling story. She gets in a match every single time. Yep. And then I bookend it with the larger story. So there's always got to be, for me, back when, we're talking about, I was reading Creature Commandos, you always had a finished story in every issue, right? So you wanted to buy every issue. You'd have a cliffhanger, but you want to buy every issue because they were satisfying. And I think everyone is so focused in comics on making movies that we forgot how to make comics and how to sell comics. Right. So I think there needs to be a return to a bunch of people who just want to make comics. So the campaign that I'm throwing, the double whammy, is actually I've already kickstarted the first 2 issues. So the double whammy, you get both issues, but they were on Kickstarter. They weren't on Indiegogo. So for the first time, I'm offering both issues on Indiegogo. And the actual books are come here tomorrow or the next day, like Thursday or Friday. The book, the second issue, the books are like in the studio, and next week is our big ship out for the Kickstarter people. But I wanted to give everyone in Indiegogo a chance to buy both books to catch up if they don't go on Kickstarter and they just go on Indiegogo. And then in September, we're launching part 3.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I got part 1. Yeah. I did back 2 when it was on Kickstarter, so I'm looking forward to it. You did 2 as well, if I remember.
I backed number 1. I loved it. I didn't even know there was a 2 until he had gotten his, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was on Kickstarter." I was like, damn it! Yeah. I missed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a bunch of cool stuff, Andy. I got like all kinds of goodies. But we can play the videos. The videos are kind of insane. So this is a little bit edited. The second video we did, but we kind of made the videos into like a story.
Nice.
And it all has to do with like all my buddies in IWS and wrestling. So they're kind of, I'm trying to do it on your stream there. Here we go. I hope we can hear it.
We'll find out.
Animal Bob Anger broke Mother Trucker number 1.
Yeah?
Yeah, hit your full screen thing so your video goes full screen.
All right.
There we go.
This is all about my country house.
No way.
That's Shane Hawk.
What's that?
You wrestle with that mask on?
Oh yeah.
How the hell hard is it to see out of that thing?
Oh, really well. Really well.
Couldn't leave well enough alone, could you?
So that's Speedball Mike Bailey.
The corporate machine! I gave you a shot. I let you make your space trucker comic, but enough is enough. You've had your fun, and I didn't want to do this, but now I have to call in the big guns.
Listen up, kids.
Oh, that's the Green
In
Phantom.
this world,
Yeah.
things work the way I say they work. I heard you calling for your buddy, the animal. Well, the industry has a message for the new wave of old school. Let that be a lesson to you. If I see the animal in this town again, he's done for.
Oh no, you're ripping up
Animal Bob Anger!
Fight.
Oh, get him in the octopus.
Dude, on concrete.
Motor Trucker is a comic about us smoking, ass stomping wrestle goddess who's trucking through the galaxy, looking for her long lost kid and to become the greatest champion of truck-off, the WrestleMania of the Starways. You say, Uncle!
Uncle, I give.
Let's make some other trucking comics.
Dude, that's so cool.
It's so ridiculous.
I know, but it's entertaining. So, you know, it's fun.
Yeah. So I mean, the first one was kind of crazy. Like we had it like in the ring and everything. Like we went to the dojo and filmed like a little wrestling match for it, and it was like super. Like we have as much fun making those videos as anything. They're a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like they're so much work to do all that. And like the guy with the black hair and the mullet, Speedball, was my trainer over the last like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And he was on TV in Japan because he got a ban in the United States for a while. They're always banning wrestlers at the border. Like the border guards in the U.S. and the border guards of Canada are always having a battle to see who can be a bigger prick. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So anyway, he got a 5-year ban for wrestling in the States, but it's up now, and he got hired to Impact Wrestling, and now he's the X Division champion.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it was so crazy. Like I was training with him every Wednesday for like, 4 or 5 hours. And then all of a sudden he's like on every television set in the United States facing like crazy people like Moxley, and like, it's nuts. Like it's crazy. Super surreal. I'm so happy for him. But for a while there, I got him in all my wrestling Kickstarter videos.
That's cool.
That is.
Yeah. But I mean, we hadn't tried anything else besides Kickstarter, and so we wanted to give Indiegogo a try and see what it's like. And I mean, it doesn't take off like it did on Kickstarter, but I mean, this is a product I've already offered everybody before.
Right.
This is sort of like almost like a backup thing that people can actually go, and if they didn't buy the books, they can. And I have a few new variant covers and a new variant flag that people can get.
Yeah, it's a second chance campaign.
Yeah, it's a second chance campaign. Yeah.
Oh, from original Mad Max. That's funny.
Yeah. So Green Phantom, I wrestle Green Phantom all the time, and he's like he's the Canadian champion right now, and he's a really cool guy. Yeah, it's really cool.
What's that?
Owen A fan.
What's Owen?
Owen A fan.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, I was hoping maybe you guys knew. I
don't
know what that is.
I assume
I thought it was a wrestling thing up there.
It's probably a wrestling thing. It's just my brain. I didn't have coffee today. I've been like kind of like in a haze all day.
That's okay. I got to work with Dennis like that all the time. So
Yeah, he's
So,
always in a haze.
Dennis comes over, does a line of coke right before the show. I'm like, seriously, you're getting that powder all over the place. Come on.
Opie and Anthony.
Oh, Opie and
Anthony. No, I've never seen it. Yeah, I think I've listened to maybe like 2-3 Opie and Anthony shows before.
Yeah, I know who they are now.
Yeah, for sure.
No, they were never in my part of my neck of the woods, I guess you'd say. Even syndicated, they weren't on stations where I lived.
Yeah, me either. I didn't really hear them much. We had a lot of Howard Stern up here.
Oh yeah.
Tons
Did you ever hear of? I don't know if he made it up there, but I grew up in Maryland, and the shock jock there, besides Howard Stern, was a guy called the Greaseman.
No, I haven't heard of him. That
sounds cool. He got in trouble because back in the early 80s, mid 80s, like I said, I grew up in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area, and a plane took off from the main Washington airport, which I think is now the Ronald Reagan Airport, but it wasn't back then. Anyhow, it took off, and it was an accident. Obviously, it was a bad accident, and it didn't get too far, and it crashed into a bridge. And luckily, not everybody, died. There were survivors, but he called up the airline. I don't know what airline it was. Whichever airline it was, he called him up live on air and asked how much a one-way ticket to that bridge was. So he got suspended for a little while after that. So I know.
That is pretty funny, though.
Big busted trucker wrestling chick I'm in is number 24. Well, thank you very much, Randy.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Sweet.
Great guy.
It's that's funny.
So we'll be seeing Andy and Dennis doing a video like this for Kor-Drath?
Yeah. Like, I don't know how you don't.
We got a bunch of friends that are wrestlers.
We do.
So I'm kind of cheating. I got a bunch of friends that are wrestlers, and we do promos anyway. You know what I mean? Like you do them anyway for shows.
Sure.
So, it's not, we have all the gear, and I film a Twitch like wrestling show in the studio here called Friday Night Speedball. It's on once a month. And like on that Twitch show, like I have all the TV lighting, and we've got tons of cameras. And because we run a wrestling show, we have all the cameras and everything too. So like we have a lot of gear, but most of the stuff I do for my Kickstarter videos, I film with my iPhone.
I was going to ask, was that your iPhone?
Yeah, my buddy, so my buddy Jason Eisner is the director of like Dark Side of the Ring and Hobo with a Shotgun and some of those movies. And I was talking to him one day, big wrestling fan, obviously, and he was just like, if you want to make promos or videos and stuff, just use your iPhone. The cameras are amazing.
Yeah,
they are.
I just got the 11, not just like a year and a half ago. I got the 11.5 Pro Max, the one that has like the 3 cameras.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this thing's amazing. Like I spent $700 or $800 on like a professional digital camera that you change all the lenses and everything. And my freaking iPhone is like better than it.
I know. I mean, you can't get better than an iPhone.
No, the camera is amazing. The camera is amazing. So we shoot all the video off my iPhone.
Dennis, put that down. You're disrupting the screen with your stupid Android.
Oh, go away.
What is this?
Still a better camera
than
your iPhone.
Is this a Google Pixel? LG?
Pixel?
LG?
Oh, my God. Don't even touch it. Just, oh my God. My God, man. It's a Galaxy.
You guys need to lock up.
Ultra.
Dennis, Galaxy is not paying us for promos. So how about you not give away free advertising? Get back to the iPhone.
Oh, to the iPhone, exactly. You know what? We are going to do a promo video. There's going to be the guy with no arm prisons against the guy who's under a weighted blankie, and then I'm going to put him in a suplex or the camel clutch.
All you guys need is you go on Amazon, order like one of the cheaper lighting gears. Thanks, Angry Gamer.
Was so last night. He's actually talking about me.
Oh, okay.
So last night we do a show called The Professionals. It's myself, Dan Fraga, Art Taber, Graham Nolan, Aaron Lepresti, Billy Tucci, and there's a couple guys, Mark Polton and 6 a.m. Comics, that are really into the wrestling, WWF wrestling game where you can customize characters.
Yeah.
So they made all of us and
Yeah.
the wrestlers looks as close as possible as you could do and everything. They outfitted the ring with the professionals logo,
That's
our
cool.
individual comic companies logo, all our stuff. And they did a tag team, a 6-way or 3-way tag team match last night so Art Taber and I were on a team. Graham and Aaron Lepresti were a team, and Billy Tucci and Dan Fraga were a tag team. And we were all in the ring at once, and they did it. We didn't watch it before. So the first time we're watching this was last night on the show because we were all commenting as the match was going on. It lasted for 35 minutes.
It was
Oh
long.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Dude, it was awesome. I came out of it bloody, but Art Taber and I took the match, baby.
Nice. So there's a podcast in Montreal called Jofo in the Ring, and the Jofo guys did the same thing. So they have like a lot of the tag teams from my Fed, and they made a separate little YouTube show about them playing that game. It's like Jofo something where they're playing the game, and me and my tag team partner Sexy Eddie, we're in the game, and it's actually like we look really close to like our actual things. I look 8 feet tall, which I love. It's like hilarious. Like
Nice.
Eddie's this little guy. I look like this 8 foot tall like Undertaker monster. It's really funny. But yeah, he's got a lot of those videos. Then he'll post them up and tag me in them, and I get a kick out of watching them because they do commentary over top. So
that's what's funny about last night when Aaron came out. The guy didn't know how tall Aaron was, so Aaron's 6'2".
Yeah,
and Graham Nolan is like my height. We're about 5'10", 5'11". So Aaron and Graham come walking down the entrance because they're a tag team, and Graham is like towering over Aaron. It looks like Aaron's about 5'8", and Aaron's like, "What the hell? I'm 6'2". Why am I so?" And on Twitter, the guy was like, "Sorry about that. I didn't know how tall you were. I'll fix it for next time."
Yeah,
it might have had a different outcome if you had my height right.
That's right. I know.
I only met Dan Fraga one time, and this was back in the 90s. My first Comic-Con in Toronto ever. He was there. He was doing what is the comic again? Blood.
Oh God! Blood
Flag?
No, Black Flag's his comic.
His first image book.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to remember. Bloodsport.
I want to say Bloodsport, but it's not sport. It's Blood something like that. But some kid had like walked up in front of his table and Bloodstrike. Yeah. Anyway, some kid had walked up in front of his table and actually like pooped like in front of his table.
What?
And he like kid pooped in front of his table, and Fraga was like losing his marbles laughing, like dying laughing, and then running around the con telling everyone someone pooped in front of his table.
I can't wait to ask Dan about that now.
He must have been like, oh my God, like how old is he now? Like 48?
Dan is 46 or 47.
Yeah, he must have been like a little bit older than I was. He must have been like 18 or 19.
Oh wait, hold on. Dan was born. Hold on. Now I think Dan was born in 74. So 48.
Yeah, so he must have been around 48 because I probably was like between 14 to 16 when I went to that show, and he was there, and he had been. Yeah, it was funny. That's the only thing I remember of Fraga is him running around telling people that a kid pooped in front of his table.
Oh my God, I got to ask him about that. Well, actually, talking about wrestling. Well, if you want to go over your tiers real quick, let's do that, and then I want to talk about how you got into wrestling and stuff.
Yeah, so I'll pop back over. I have we're doing if I go back up, we have a Mother Trucker digital pack that's 14. That's basically like both 60-page issues.
Nice.
And then it has those issues because they're digital, have all the variant covers and all the rest of that. And then you also get an 80-page digital art book of mine. So remember when we would go to Comic-Cons and you get like everyone's sketchbook? It was like that, but this one has 80 pages. Then I have the scripts for both issues. And I have a comic that I made years ago called Black Church that I was selling myself, one of my self-published things. Yeah. It's super like black metal. It's about Dracula's father, and medieval Dracula. Like, you know, remember at the beginning of Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula movie, it's all medieval with the red armor.
Yeah.
I made like a I think it's like a 30 or 40 page comic back then that's about the size. It's a square, and I used to sell it in a record sleeve. So I would sell it like a 45 to people. It would actually come like a record. And I've been selling it for years. I made truck tons of them. But the digital version has that in it, and it's also got like I think there's some other comic that comes with it. But you know, there's a bunch of stuff that comes with the digital, and then any tier you get after this comes with digital anyway.
Oh, sweet!
So then,
wow.
Yeah, so I've already sent everyone like a PDF of the book, and then we had the early bird, which was basically you get a few bucks off of getting the normal tier, which is you get both Mother Trucker #1, the Shine, and Mother Trucker 2, the Cutoff, and it comes with some posters, like centerfold sexy Mother Trucker posters, and it comes with stickers, that kind of stuff. And there's basically like a cheaper price for the early birds. I think we have a couple left. And then there's the normal one, which is the same thing I said, but it's like kind of the normal price. And then you can get one that's 200 where I draw for you. I actually get in there and I draw you like a sexy Mother Trucker or something, or Mother Trucker beating someone up or whatever you like. So I have a art tier, and then we have add-ons. So right now we have Carl Kerschel. I think I got to go into the history part to show you these. I actually like doing this stuff. Oh, here's some of the pages from the book. Sorry.
Oh yeah, show that.
I'm whipping through here.
Dude, the art is, for anybody that's wondering, I have the first book, and I should have. Let me see. Dennis, talk.
Yeah, so I have a few pages here from the book.
It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, this is
I really enjoyed the hell out of the first one.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, this is pages from the first one, and then we get into the Cutoff, and we meet some of the new characters, and then she gets in a fight with a tag team, and the ladies in that tag team are Tina Tork and Debbie Deathall, and I have like a really nice, I think it's like 10-12 page wrestling sequence in that book, and then here's what the book looks like printed, and yeah.
It's great, man. Like I said, I got the first one right here, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome, and your art is just, that's the thing I like about Facebook. You discover new people. That's how we met. And I remember looking at your stuff on Facebook and just being like, dude, that is awesome.
I spent from 2018 until 2021 sending monthly submissions into Marvel and DC and not getting anything.
It's a great mix of cartoony and realistic, you know.
And I know everybody too. That's what's annoying. So here's some of the original artwork you would get. I do up some of these like sort of like
oh, nice.
Oh, these ones are topless. Sometimes people ask for that.
Oh,
so here's the variant cover, and actually before. I'm it's fine to talk about it. Before I ran my Indiegogo, I called you, Andy, and we had like a little meeting.
Oh yeah, we chatted.
And you suggested maybe doing another cover, so I got this one by Board Inker up there, and here's some of the other variants or add-ons I guess you can get if you get the book. You can get one with Carl Kerschel's cover. Carl Kerschel, he's been in the business forever. He's done, Teen Titans, and he just did some Batman recently, and he works with me in the studio. He sits right beside me. And then there's like a sexy Carrie Nord cover, and then for part 2, there's another Carl cover and another Carrie cover for part 2 that you could get. Then I have this new one, which is a flag. Remember back in the 80s, you get like heavy metal flags. You go to like a rock shop and you get like a heavy metal flag for your studio or your garage. Yeah. So these are 24 by 36 flags. I got a real good flag maker up here in Montreal. They look just awesome. Wow. So I have this one that I just put out that I did. I'm really happy with it.
How do you ship it?
Because it's shipped. They come folded and flat, and they're basically the size of a comic anyway.
Are they really?
So
So that,
yeah,
that
they're
flag
perfect.
can fold up that tight and not be
Yeah,
that bulky?
yeah, it folds up that flat. Yeah. When I got them in, I was like, oh my God, thank God they're about the same size. Yeah. And then
Oh,
this
wow.
one's by Michael Cho. I don't know any of you comic fans out there, but Michael Cho does a lot of covers.
Oh, yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends from Toronto. Him and I always end up we go to conventions together. Like we schedule them together so that we can go out and act badly.
Nice.
So so those are all the tiers you can get with the Indiegogo, and I think tomorrow we're going to drop some new variants you can get. They're not new variants to like the Kickstarter crew, but new variants to the Indiegogo crew where they could get some of the ones. We did 8 covers on Mother Trucker 2. So I'm offering some of those that people can get. And that'll be tomorrow. And that's the campaign we got going on.
Sweet. Well, yeah, let's leave it up and we'll just talk about how you got into wrestling and stuff so people can see it. The link is in the description.
Because, I mean, wrestling and comics, they always go hand in hand.
That's right.
Well, I always thought they did. Like when I was a little kid, one of the things, like if I wasn't drawing monsters of superheroes, I was drawing Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage and Jake the Snake and all those guys. And actually, I got a chance to work on all those Boom Studios comics. I was always doing the backups because I was working on an Image series called Southern Cross with Becky Cloonan at the time.
Oh,
but I couldn't pass up like the chance to work on wrestling comics with like the legacy characters, as they said. They're like, well, we can't have you do the main book because that's already out, but we'll have you do the legacy characters. And I was like, oh no, I get to do like 5-page or 2-page stories about like Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
So I did, my first one was Jake the Snake, DDTing Ricky Steamboat into the cement. Remember when he did that? He pulled back the stuff and DDT'd him for real into the cement. And Ricky Steamboat was all messed up for a few months. We did that. I did the origin story to Kane and Undertaker. That was a good chunky story. I did the origin story to Kevin and Sami Zayn because they're from my Fed in Montreal.
Oh, nice. So,
and then I did some other ones. But to segue in there, I'm part of a Fed called IWS. So when I moved to Montreal in 2012, I was doing a lot of video game work for Far Cry 3. I animated the trailer for Blood Dragon for Far Cry 3, and we won some awards. And it was a really crazy, like G.I. Joe style cartoon. And they came to me and they were like, hey, do you think you can draw like a G.I. Joe style and animate it? And I was just like, yeah, no problem. Never done that in my life. Totally bullshitted them.
Nice.
I've never animated in my life. I've seen a documentary on it. So I started, I did it, and we won the awards doing it. It was all hand done, and I would do basically the old school style animation on paper, and you trace every drawing and like, okay, this arm moves a little, this arm moves a little, and I would do cycles and then hand it off to the computer guys that put it all together. And for the ships and helicopters and stuff like that, I would use SketchUp. Yeah. So I would like use JPEGs to get the frames I need of the thing moving. Yeah. Inside of SketchUp, and then I draw the helicopter over top in my style, and then that became the animated sequence, and it worked like a dream. And whenever I had movement inside my animation, I would actually like, Ralph Bakshi, I would shoot someone doing the movements and then draw over in my style. Yeah. So that I had it. It was really cool. But those guys were obsessed with wrestling. So in Montreal, wrestling's kind of as big as like hockey or something like that. You know what I mean? We have 15 different feds, something like that in Montreal. Like it's in 100, like all the way to Quebec City. There's like 15 or 20 of them. Holy cow. Different shows. And I would say that we're probably on the biggest show in Canada because we have TV deals with Fight Network. Uh-huh. So on Fridays in the United States, if you have Fight Network, you can watch IWS in 2 slots on Fridays. After
I gotta see if we have that.
Yeah, you would have it. So and you get to see me wrestle. So it's kind of cool. That's awesome. But anyway, the guys who run it, Manny, PCP Crazy Manny, and Shane Hawk, are the guys that ran it. And when I first started going to shows, I'd go with my friends, from Ubisoft. There'd be like 10 of us. We get all drunk and start yelling at wrestlers. And the one we would go to was also IWS and Battle War. And Battle War is in a heavy metal club. Like, the heavy metal club from Wayne's World, the Gasworks.
Oh, yeah.
We have like a gasworks in Montreal called Foufon Electrique, and it's basically a giant heavy metal bar that's like the size of a warehouse, and there's a stage for bands on the second floor, and they put a ring there, and it gives it a real crazy fight club atmosphere. And it's a Sunday show, so we would go and get liquored up before we'd have to work on Monday.
Nice.
And I met these guys and started meeting the wrestlers, and I'm a big guy, so they're like, we just opened a school, why don't you come? Started training, and my
Now wait, how old were you when you started training and stuff?
I was like 36.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
It's not too late for us.
Yeah, no, I was 36. I was
What do
like,
you mean? I'm still training.
I got like being in comics, you know, I was professional, started doing professional stuff when I was about 25, 26, 27, where I quit my job that I had in Toronto and was just working on comic book stuff.
Yeah.
From there until I was about 35, I don't think I worked out at all, and I had gotten bigger. Like I was, you know, I wasn't working out, so I gotten big. Like all I did was drink beer and eat pizza.
Sure.
So, and then draw comic books to the like 18 hours a day until I wanted to kill myself. Yeah. If not more, sometimes 20. I'm a real workaholic. It's getting harder the older I get, though, to pull in the 24 hours. But Andre the Giant started here in Montreal. They brought him over from France because he spoke French, and he wrestled here. And then Vince came and got him from Montreal. So there are these. I don't have them on me right now. It's a real bummer. But there are these amazing photos that came out recently. I think they were for a book. And there were of all the wrestlers in the league when Andre was wrestling. It's maybe like 35 wrestlers in this photo shoot, and the photos are in Andre's in one with his arms up with his fur vest, and like those wrestlers back then look amazing. And some of them are old. Like some of the guys look like there's like 65 wrestling. Like it's amazing. Like they had old wrestlers back in the 70s. It wasn't all like 25-year-old, like abbed up, ripped looking, beautiful guys. A lot of times it was like, you know, it was the guy who's like the mechanic down on the side of the road, who's the toughest guy in town. And
but like, look at this. Think about this. If you look at the NFL back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, the same thing. They were just these bruised. They'd go sit on the sideline and smoke between plays. You know,
or drink.
I mean, I'm not a Steelers fan, but I respect Ben Roethlisberger, and he just retired last year. But to me, he was the last of the quarterbacks that you looked at and were like, man, you should have been playing in the 70s, because he wasn't ripped and cut and vascular. He's just this big bruiser guy that would go out there and just chuck the ball.
Yeah, just beef. I like that sort of working class sports mentality back in the 60s and 70s. I kind of love that. Like where they would be smoking and drinking beer on the sidelines instead of water. And now it's all like everyone's got to be like this sort of like uber, like, you know, they have trainers and like diets and steroids and drug enhanced stuff and going to get
sidelines, riding a stationary bike and stuff to stay loose and whatnot. Back in the 70s, they'd be like, I had to sit down for a little bit.
You know, the interviews in the 60s, you know, back with the Packers' first 2 Super Bowls, they were interviewing him. The guys would stay out all night drinking, literally partying, drinking, smoking. They wouldn't even sleep. They'd get back to the room. Lombardi would give him crap, be like, what are you doing? Do you even want to play? And they didn't care. They would go out there and play, and then win Super Bowls completely drunk, hungover, and tired as hell. I mean, those were men.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. So yeah, I started wrestling because I wanted to learn the language of wrestling, because it has its own language, and it you know, it grew out of like the carny sort of carnival circus sort of scenario. So there's a lot of circusness to it. Like when they book a wrestling show, you know, there's like funny acts and there's bloody acts and there's like, you know, like technical wrestling acts, and like everyone has their part on the show. I normally end up in the sort of like the, you know, if it was a rodeo, I'd probably be, me and Sexy Ed are kind of like the rodeo clowns a little bit, but.
Well, you look at guys like, I just watched we talked about it in chat. I just watched the biography about Kurt Angle. Yeah. And, you know, Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar when they wrestled one match, it was a very technical match because both those guys were NCAA champions and, really knew how to get in there and wrestle. On the flip side, I never knew this, even though I saw the match. When Goldberg first got in, I knew he wasn't a wrestling background, but the part I didn't know watching his biography is his first match that he wrestled with Bret Hart, who is a very technical wrestler as well. They were going to do a spot where Goldberg was going to, kick him in the head, right? And Goldberg basically didn't, I don't want to say he didn't pull the kick, but he didn't time it right. And he gave Bret Hart a concussion, and to the point where Hart was out, I think he said, for a year or two.
I still believe that Bret Hart actually claims that that's why he retired.
That's what, Bret.
I think he says like that injury was so bad that it's why he left. Whether that's true or not, you never know. But
yeah, I don't know.
He still says that. Yeah.
But he was so, they interviewed him in the biography, and he was like, I was making $3 million a year, and then Goldberg messes up and kicks me wrong, and I'm out.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God.
And it wasn't long after he left WWE, and he was the champion, and he got the Montreal screw job.
Oh yeah.
Which is famous here, right? Because the Montreal screw job happened here. Yeah. So tons of my friends were at the match when he got screwed.
Yeah.
And then went in the back and punched Vince in the face.
Yep.
And then legendary stuff. But then he went over to WCW, and I think he only lasted a few years.
Yeah.
If that, and then he got kicked in the head, and then he was done.
Yep. Pretty much. So,
anyway, I'm trying not to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's been mishaps in the ring.
I've had
landing wrong or whatever.
I've had, I think, 2 or 3 concussions that I can count that I know of. Not going to the hospital though, so they're not that bad. But I'm guessing they were concussion. I've been knocked out kind of twice, knocked right out.
Wow.
And then one time I got hit, I was doing my finishing move, and I threw up the guy wrong, and actually he came down on my head, and then my head hit the mat. And I remember standing up and just watching like blackness go. And
really?
Then I got I was kind of going out. The other times I got hit in the head, and it was the same thing. You see kind of blackness come in, you're yeah, and they got to revive you a little bit. Or sometimes you get kind of hit in the head, and you can feel it coming on.
Yeah.
You can feel you're knocked out like a boxer. And then I have to tell the guy, if that happens in the match, you kind of have to tell the guy, yo, give me a headlock or something until I come out of it.
Oh, wow. What do you try
got to keep the match going? You got to keep the match going. So
do you try to tell the ref? Do you try to tell the ref as well, or do you just try to tell the opponent? You just try to tell the partner.
Yeah, there's not time to tell the ref. I got to tell my opponent.
Right.
So if you can, you get an arm around them, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get them, and then you just whisper, "Hey, put me in an arm lock or a hold so that I can
stabilize a little bit."
Yeah. So I can come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it takes a minute. 30 seconds to a minute sometimes to come back from that.
Sure.
You need to breathe a little bit. You need to get your equilibrium, and that's happened.
I'm seeing Tweeties.
I'm seeing Tweety birds. Let me grab this super chat from Bob Gable. Bob Gable, $4.99. Thank you. Read Lawrence Taylor's biography. He sent hookers to the best opposing player's room and told them to keep them up all night before a game. That is awesome. That is Arnold Schwarzenegger level stuff, because if you've ever watched Pumping Iron, have you ever watched?
Oh yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
dude, the stuff I own that on DVD just because the stuff he would do to Lou Ferrigno mind game wise.
That's my favorite. My favorite. Poor Lou. Poor Lou. The guy's deaf. Come on.
Yeah, but now look at it. Lou's in better shape than Arnold is in their senior.
Lou looks amazing. Stuff. Lou looks amazing. He has stayed healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember talking to Al Snow once before a show, because Al would get me tickets when he was in town to a show. And I remember going to a show once, and he was doing something outside the ring, and he got up on the divider between the audience and the front row and the ring or whatever. and he was walking on it, and then his opponent comes up and knocks him down or whatever, and Al just comes straight down, leg on either side, and racks himself. And I remember afterwards we went out to dinner, and I was like, dude,
yeah,
I know you guys talk about what you're going to do before a match. Was that your idea? And he's like, hell yeah, it was. And I'm like, oh.
So we have stuff where you like hit each other in the balls or kick each other in the balls, and there's like ways to do it, but like chances of you actually getting punched or kicked in the balls when that's attempted are like 75%. It's probably going to happen.
Well, so I don't know.
I think it's 75%. So probably you're going to get nailed in the nards. It's happened to me a bunch. You get picked up and then a guy will like nut you on the side of the ropes. That happens.
Well, do you guys, I'm friends with some football players as well, and I remember asking them this question. Do you guys wear cups or no?
No, not in wrestling.
They don't in football.
It's real stupid too.
The one football player that used to play for the Chicago Bears I was talking to, he's like, nah, man, you don't do that. You look like a wuss. And I'm like,
I think not wearing a cup in football is insane.
Well, so this guy played for the Bears. It's freezing up there, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't believe
I have heated ones. What are you
no,
trying to go with?
Not cups. I'm like, I can't believe I see you guys come out in December in Chicago and Green Bay with short sleeves. And he's like,
I can't even tell you how many times I've been kicked or punched in the nuts like wrestling. You can't count. I can't count. Well, so I do a move. I do two moves that kind of set stuff up. But one of my moves is I go on the top rope and I come down with like a cane style clothesline. But mine, instead of going out, I kind of come down like a hammer. I call it the animal hammer. And often I try the animal hammer at the beginning of the match, and it's meant to screw up. It's called my cutoff. Yeah. So when I start a match, I'm a babyface, so I have a shine. So I beat up the bad guy for a little bit, and then I'll beat him up to a good point. I'll try and pin him. He'll kick out, and I'll go to the top rope. And I'll be like super cocky, like I'm going to end this. Animal's going to end this dude. And then I get on the top rope, jump off, and then the guy is supposed to cut me off. So he either like punches me or he kicks me or whatever. I've been kicked square in the balls, like coming down from the top rope at least 5 times. Where the guy's like, I'm going to kick you, and just like kicks me in the balls while I'm like coming down. It happens a lot.
Kids before coming a wrestler.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so I did have kids kind of in the middle there. But once I had my kid, I was like, I've done enough damage to the planet. Like,
so back to the cold weather thing real quick. I was like, I can't believe you guys come out wearing the short sleeves and stuff in this freezing weather. He goes, dude, if you wear long sleeves, you just get made fun of. But when it comes to the cup, I mean, what's the legit, why not wear it?
Doesn't make sense to me for football.
I
know they do in hockey.
Pride.
They do in hockey.
It was pride in football.
I mean, martial arts.
I hear you, but it's the same thing. It's a contact sport. We were supposed to.
I'd want to wear wrestling just because if some dude lifts me over his head, I don't want him grabbing my junk.
That happens.
I bet. I'd be like, hey now, I don't know you that well.
Yeah, like when you get gorilla pressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nowhere to grab except junk.
Have you ever been pile driven?
Yes. I was very afraid of it for a long time because I'm an older guy, and basically I don't like people doing stuff where I'm going to like land on my head or my neck because I've done it a few times, and it's not good for me. Like when I was a younger kid, they had gymnastics in one of the classes, and I came down off of one of the beams, and I went straight down like an arrow onto my head and compressed the two vertebrae in my spine. And that was when I was a kid. And I feel like it pretty much healed up, but like I was doing my trainer right now is crazy, and he was trying to get me to do back handsprings over a guy. And I remember I went back and I went straight down on my head again, and it made a really messed up sound. And so I'm worried about my neck. But the pile driver is actually, if you do it properly, the thing is like with Stone Cold, people got like cocky. You know what I mean? With that move, you can't be cocky. So with a pile driver, when my head goes between your legs, I'm supposed to like wrap my arms like around your legs, right, and tuck my head right? If your head's
Yeah.
straight, right, you're going to go down like an arrow and break your neck.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you tuck, the guy's supposed to fall down. So actually you kind of land on your shoulders,
Right.
right? You're not supposed to hit your head. Like
Right.
his legs are supposed to be there, and he's supposed to fall in an angle that it actually is like you're kind of like falling on top of him on his shoulders, but you're also supposed to wrap your arms around so your arms can push on the bottom, right? So it actually, but people do stupid shit anyway. You know, it's like,
Well, it's the same thing like when somebody drops a leg on you, like Hogan was known for. I mean, if you watch it, the whole thing is the leg is bent, right?
yeah,
So you're not, because I mean, well, you've watched live shows. I was telling people that have never been to a live show that if you go to a live show and you're on the side where like the main camera is facing the ring, you know, when they cut the promos in the ring, they're always facing somebody's screwed because your back's to them because they're facing the main camera.
yeah,
So if they play the wrestling moves more towards that main camera, you don't see certain things. But when you're at the live show, if you're not on that main camera side, I've seen punches that don't even come close.
yeah. You're like this far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. I still like contact with the punches, but
Right.
even myself, I have a long way to go. Like I was in a match on Saturday, and we have a feud with two of the biggest dudes. Like I'm talking Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilding dudes.
Yeah.
Me and my partner, and one of them is called Frankie the Beast King. He used to be called Frankie the Mobster, but now it's Frankie the Beast King.
Yeah.
And he's like a big bodybuilder, like he's in a lot of movies and stuff. And the match starts, I throw a chair at him, and then him and I go to the outside and go at it. And we were going at each other pretty good, and I was going a little hard, and I totally decked him in the mouth like by accident. Like I was going crazy, and he turned around and there's blood coming up, and I was just like, got him in a headlock. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I love you, dude. Don't kill me.
So when you
He's like, if you were anyone else in this ring right now, you'd be dead. You'd be getting it's called a receipt. You'd be getting a receipt, but I love you. So you're fine. But like I saw later in the match, blood coming out of his like mouth. And I turned over to him. Like I took a big move from another guy, and I looked over and saw him on the edge of the ring and was just like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
Well, it's like when you got, I think it was The Undertaker who said that, you know, 3 or 4 times his orbital bone was broken and stuff. You're just like, oh.
Yeah. I try to be safe. Me and my partner, me and my partner are getting older. So we the stuff that we do in the ring, we try and keep it a little safer.
Oh, of course.
Except for that thing where I was going to jump 20 feet to the outside under 2 guys onto a broken table. But it didn't happen. So, yeah. That would have been real crazy.
Well, hey, we're gonna wrap this up.
Man. I was gonna say, scroll to your top of your screen and let's see what you're at, and then do a refresh because I saw we got several backers.
Oh yeah, we're at 1,000.
Yeah, now refresh it.
Trying that, yeah. Oh, that's sweet. So cool. Right on. Thank you so much, guys.
Very nice.
That's amazing.
We don't have to call that the DNA bump.
I know. Usually Hyper-Kaiju's already posting the DNA bump. And then I have to say, Randy, you said earlier, he said my name in French.
Denise?
No, it's Denis. So,
Denise.
Oui, je m'appelle Denis.
Oui, Denis.
Randy, you didn't know I could speak a little bit of French. It's been 30 years, but I did take French for a few years.
Oh, Dennis took the language of love.
French in Quebec, you can barely understand.
Really?
Like if you take a little bit of French, you could go to Paris and you can, you kind of understand what they're saying. But in Quebec, it's like going to like the deepest reaches of Scotland when it comes to French. Like you have no idea what they're saying. No idea. I still don't. I've been here since 2012. I don't know what they're saying.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys. That's so cool.
Hang out until we end it to talk a little bit back stream. Everybody, thank you for joining. Check out Mother Trucker. The link is in the description below. So if you're watching this on replay, go check it out. It's definitely worth backing. I've got my number 1 right here. I'm looking forward. Let me just do this so we can see it bigger. I've got the number 1. I'm looking forward to my number 2. I can't wait. definitely go back. The art's great. The story's really fun and fresh. So check it out for sure.
I've got everything posted down below. We've got Mother Trucker. We got Andy's page, Kor-Drath. We've got that one. And then the Dennis and Andy site, which is our combined site. So make sure you subscribe to all of those. And that way you guys stay in our loop.
That's right. And next week, if Dennis does a show, he'll be flying solo because I'll be out of town.
He will.
So maybe he'll try and find a guest host. We shall see. Until then, there's a little battle that Dennis and I have pre-recorded that we can show as we leave the show.
And for some reason, I always lose.
Yeah. Oh, it's not that one.
Oh, okay.
No, it's this one. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.
Live long.
Thanks, everybody.